idolatrous practices, mediums. The Bible tells us in Leviticus 19:31, do not turn to mediums or necromancers. Do not seek them out, and so make yourselves unclean by them. I am the Lord your God. Leviticus 26 tells us, if a person turns to mediums and necromancers, whoring after them, I will set my face against that person and will cut him off from among his people. And King Saul was frustrated that God had ceased telling him what to do through prophets or dreams. You hear that? Oh, so you ain't gonna do it. I got you, God. I got you, G. All right. I'm gonna go figure it out myself. You know, it's like when you read the Bible, it's like, yeah, it's so befitting to the times that we are in, to the people that we are now, child. Especially me. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I be feeling like God ain't moving fast enough, or he ain't visioning them the way that I think he should. Child. The prophet's message to Saul was one of doom. And you can see this in verse 17 through 19. And he died the next day. When grieving parents seek out a medium to put them in touch with their dead child, they don't realize the spirit who speaks to them is actually a demon, pretending to be their child. That demons have no problem telling some of the truth to hide their deception. Oh,
I'm not ever just saying the truth just to say it. That's stupid. I'm saying the truth because I really do believe that God is better. And if he is better, then I'm willing to wade through your offenses. I'm willing to wade through whatever attacks or arrows you might have, because I know if it gets through to the heart and the Holy Spirit blesses that thing, you'll see that I was right.
To the king, then he told me to ride. I'm a brand new creature because they owe me to die.
What up, you guys, and welcome back to another teaching. This one is on our series, Idolatrous Practices. We have covered an array of different topics when it's pertaining to this particular series. And as I always enter into this series saying that this was something that I embarked on because of a particular post that I saw on Facebook, and I was like, dang, I've been dealing with the occult. Anyways, so the post was this, and it says, are you practicing the occult and witchcraft and don't even know it? And baby, when I tell you I was reading on the list, I said, oh my God, oh yes. Oh Lord, I am so sorry. Okay. And I was doing this while saying that I was a Christian. Okay. So horoscopes, numerology, psychics, spirit guides, yoga, crystals, sage, manifesting, chakras, mediums, angel numbers, palm reading, evil eye, tarot cards, enneagram, reincarnation, Reiki, and Freemasonry. Okay. Now we've covered a couple. We are about to really exit on out of this particular series. We've covered horoscopes, numerology, psychics, spirit guides, yoga, crystal, sage, manifesting, chakras, evil eye, tarot cards, and reincarnation. And so today leads me into our next topic of discussion: mediums, idolatrous practices, mediums. Okay. Now this one rings home with me as well, because I've spoken to psychics and mediums, two of a kind. Okay, they are two of a kind. And not necessarily have I actually spoken to a medium per se. But I've watched it. I was intrigued by it. It kind of led me down the path to get involved with a psychic, and we're gonna get into the difference thereof. But like I said, this particular practice is on mediums, okay? And so if you are just tuning in, okay, catch up. I'm gonna need you to catch up, okay? Go on and check out your girl playlist, okay? I have an array of different teachings on there, right? And this one, I'm gonna be honest with you, my favorite teaching was on the Jezebel spirit and like demonization, like when you're demonized, and how to loosen all this stuff like that. Anyways, the Bible tells us in Leviticus 19:31, do not turn to mediums or necromancers. Do not seek them out, and so make yourselves unclean by them. I am the Lord your God. Leviticus 26 tells us if a person turns to mediums and necromancers, whoring after them, I will set my face against that person and will cut him off from among his people. And you know what a whore does, okay? Give a little flesh, give a little cash, okay? And so you're giving yourself, in regards to these psychics, these mediums, right? Like a whore, okay, that seeks after her next like trick, okay? And that was kind of me for a second when I got into the world of psychics. And let's be very clear, you can do this with your prophets. Yeah, you can make your prophets your idols, okay? Your prophets are a form of psychics, but they're on the right team, okay? So be careful about that, right? That's how I was. So once I felt like I could tap in and somebody could tell me something about something that I didn't know about, that hidden knowledge. Maybe I was like, let me see if I can put this little coin to the side and get them to tell me a little bit of something. Am I going down the right path when I should be seeking the Lord? That's how that go. Okay. So what is a medium, right? Now we're getting this information from gotquestions.org. What is a medium.html. So if you ever want to just go back and follow along, right? Now in both modern and ancient times, a medium is a person who communicates with spirits, usually apart from the use of witchcraft. Usually. Okay. Now, a medium is literally an intermediary, okay, between the spirit world and others. The Bible condemns the practice of mediumship, however, and attempting to speak to the dead through seances or other means is expressly forbidden. Now, sometimes mediums are called channelers, okay, as they allegedly channel communication from the dead to the living. For your free reading, that should tell you why it says allegedly. Okay, all right. Now, medium might only communicate with one or more specific spirits called familiars, or familiar spirits, or the communication may be spread across many different spirits. Now, the messages may come audibly, okay, visually, or through physical sensations. Now, modern mediums distinguish themselves from psychics, okay, who only read the energies of a person or place and do not communicate with actual spirits. The term psychic medium can confuse the issue. Also, a medium is not necessarily a witch, wizard, sorcerer, or necromancer, since mediums believe that their communication with the spirit world is an inherent ability. Now, the fictional character Cole Shear in the movie The Sixth Sense would be considered a medium. Mediums are referenced in several passages of the Old Testament. In Leviticus 20:27, mediums are condemned along with spiritists. Deuteronomy 18:10-11 echoes Leviticus and expands it, including diviners, sorcerers, witches, wizards, anyone who casts spells, and anyone who practices child sacrifice. Now, King Saul's sinful use of a medium is recorded in 1 Samuel 28. Now, the prophet Samuel was dead. And King Saul was frustrated that God had ceased telling him what to do through prophets or dreams. You hear that? Oh, so you ain't gonna do it. I got you, God. I got you, G. All right. I'm gonna go figure it out myself. It's like when you read the Bible, it's like, yeah, it's so befitting to the times that we are and to the people that we are now, child. Especially me. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I be feeling like God ain't moving fast enough, or he ain't venturing in them the way that I think he should. Child, we in a whole mess, child. So the king, in direct violation of God's law and his own previous command, told his men to find a medium who could communicate with Samuel. 1 Samuel 28:3. Now, this medium conjured Samuel, and Saul communicated with the dead prophet. Theologians discuss whether this conjuring was a physical reappearance of Samuel or merely an image of him. Now, there is also some questions whether or not the medium actually meant to conjure Samuel, as she seems to have been the most surprised at his appearance. When the woman saw Saul, she cried out at the top of her voice. Verse 12. Perhaps she was perhaps she was a fraud who did not expect to actually see a spirit. Or perhaps she was expecting to communicate with her familiar and not with Samuel directly. Either way, God seems to have allowed Samuel's conjuring in order to drive home his point to Saul. The prophet's message to Saul was one of doom. And you can see this in verse 17 through 19. And he died the next day. First Chronicles 10, 13 through 14 reveals that Saul's interaction with the medium was an important part of why he was dethroned and his dynasty cut short. Now, in the New Testament, sorcery and other associated practices are considered inappropriate, sinful activities for any Christian. You can see this in Acts 8, 9 and 19:19. Now, since the primary purpose of these activities is to communicate with spirits, it is correct to conclude mediumship in these New Testament warnings. It should be noted that the spirit a medium conjures is not the spirit of a deceased person. Now, the case of Samuel speaking to Saul was a rare exception. Jesus' story of the rich man and Lazarus in Luke 16, 18 through 31 gives strong evidence that once a person is dead, his soul remains in either heaven or hell. Thus, the spirits who communicate with mediums are lying spirits that we hear about in 1 Kings 22, 23, which reads, Now therefore, behold, the Lord has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these your prophets. The Lord has declared disaster for you. And this was, if I'm not mistaken, he was saying this to, I think it was Saul. If it wasn't Saul, it was not Saul. It was King Ahab, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then the one prophet Elijah came and said, "You gonna die." He sure did. And he didn't listen to him, and yeah, he got God. Now, these lying spirits, as we read in 1 Kings 22, 23, who deceived people into believing their lost loved ones, are communicating to them. When grieving parents seek out a medium to put them in touch with their dead child, they don't realize the spirit who speaks to them is actually a demon, pretending to be their child. Now, any involvement with such practices, including asking mediums for guidance, is strongly warned against in the Bible. Okay? Now, what does God say about channeling and mediums? Now, this study or this article that I'll be, grabbing inserts from, you can get from BibleInfo.com. This is something new. Okay, and it's what does God say about channeling and demons? Okay, a channeler is a mystic who becomes a channel or receptive agent for intelligent communications coming from the spirit world. What does God say about mediumship? It's in the Bible, Leviticus 19:31. Do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritists, for you will be defiled by them. I wanted to go on to this particular article because it was something that they pointed out that I wanted to speak on, okay? The Bible says, for the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing, and they have no more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Also, their love, their hatred, and their envy have now perished. Nevermore will they have a share in anything done under the sun. In other words, for sure, we know it couldn't be. Oh, and I wanted to go to this particular article because they expound a little bit more on the whole Saul conjuring up the spirit, right? They kind of go on that vein because we read that theologians are trying to debate whether or not what was the issue, if it was of God or not, or whatever the case may be. And I was like, this is an interesting point that they elaborate on. So listen to this. There are some key details that must not be overlooked. First, the spirit was ascending out of the earth. Those who believe that when you die, your spirit goes up to heaven have to ask themselves, why was Saul's spirit coming up from the earth rather than down from heaven? Be details, details. And if you read the story, you'll understand what they're saying. This is scripture, right? And second, when the spirit speaks to Saul and gives a prediction, the spirit says, tomorrow you and your sons will be with me. Again, we have to ask, if Samuel is a good man and prophet of the Lord, isn't he supposed to be in heaven? If we assume that the spirit of Samuel is in heaven, then how can Saul, who is in rebellion against the Lord, so end up where Samuel is the next day? It seems the spirit is a lying spirit. And you think it's going to be some lying spirits in heaven, child? The answer is in the Bible in 1 Chronicles 10:13-14, the NIV version. Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord and even consulted a medium for guidance and did not inquire of the Lord. The medium spirit was an impostor, for scripture clearly states that Saul did not inquire of the Lord. In our modern day, just like King Saul of old, people seek counsel from psychic mediums. Several fortune telling channelers have become wealthy celebrities as a result of predictions published in supermarket tabloids and through counseling well paying clientele, such as Hollywood movie stars, politicians, and industrialists. The psychics sometimes claim to be channeling Jesus Christ, Jehovah God, and the Virgin Mary. But what is the real source of the messages uttered by these spirits? The Apostle Paul was once also met with a psychic medium. Luke records what happened to him. Paul and Silas in the pagan city of Philippi. Now it happened as we went to prayer that a certain slave girl possessed with a spirit of divination met us, who brought her masters much profit by fortune telling. Now, this girl followed Paul and us and cried out, saying, these men are the servants of the Most High God, who proclaim to us the way of salvation. And this she did for many days. But Paul, greatly annoyed, turned and said to the spirit, I command you, in the name of Jesus, to come out of her. And he came out that very hour. But when her masters saw that their hope of profit was gone, they seized Paul and Silas and dragged them into the marketplace to the authorities. You can see this in Acts 16 through 19. Now, the spirit of the slave girl that was giving her the ability to do fortune telling was an evil spirit, a demon, which Paul was able to cast out. It should be noted that demons have no problem telling some of the truth to hide their deception. Oh, yeah, they will. Okay. Yeah, they will. All right. Yeah, they will. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Even the demon could acknowledge Paul as serving God and teaching the truth. Now, Jesus himself, on several occasions, was confronted with people controlled by demon spirits, yet still recognized the authority of Jesus. In one instance, in Capernaum, there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, "You to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." But Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be silent and come out of him." And the unclean spirit, convulsing him and crying out with a loud voice, came out of him. You can see this in Mark 1:23 through 26. Now, just because a spirit can tell the truth doesn't mean it is a good spirit. Okay. All right. Now, among the Israelites, the penalty for anyone practicing spiritism was death. A man or woman who is a medium or a spiritist among you must be put to death. And this is Leviticus 20:24. Okay, no middle ground, no blue ground, no green ground, no gray. No, none of that. God tells us, and when they say to you, seek those who are mediums and wizards, who whisper and mutter, should not a people seek their God? Isaiah 8:19. Now, the admonition from heaven is clear. When in need of counsel, we are to seek God. He who assures us, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, and seek my face and turn and turn and turn and turn, like turn. I'm still going. I don't care much. Stop it. And turn. Stop it. Stop doing what you're doing. Like disown it. Mm-hmm. And turn from their wicked ways. Then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. 2 Chronicles 7:14. In seeking God, his word, the Holy Bible, is to be our guiding light. The word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Psalms 119, 105, King James Version. So as we wrap this particular teaching up, what does the Bible say about mediums? Leave it alone. Like, stop. And you know what? Before we wrap this thing up, I do want to give you some more scriptures, okay? Deuteronomy 18:9 through 12. When you come into the land that the Lord your God is giving you, basically, when you come into a saved life, okay? When you come into whatever it is that you've been praying and seeking the Lord, hey, Lord, deliver me from this. Get me out of this. Save me, Lord. Deliver me, Lord. Okay. He makes it happen. You shall not learn to follow the abominable practices of those nations. So you are in this world, you're not of it. So don't be doing the stuff that this world is doing. It's abominable. Okay, listen. There shall not be found among you anyone who burns his son or his daughter as on offering. So we're not in those times where we're burning children, but you can definitely your child. That's a offering because I don't like the baby daddy, or oh because it's gonna mess up my body, or because, oh, I don't got the finances, or because it's just not right timing. Like, I want to say, who the hell you think you are? Like, I was 16 and pregnant, didn't have a dime to my name, and I got pregnant. And even in my little brain, there was something that I was not going to do. And as I gave birth to that child months later, when I was 17 by that time, and he was deceased, and in my mind still, I was like, nah, don't give me any kind of drugs, because if he was living, I would have went through this the same way. I didn't even take a way out of that, because I got myself in this situation. I'm not fixing to play it. And I'm just telling you what I was thinking then. I'm not fixing to give myself a way of escape and making this soft. I need to feel this pain so I don't want to go through it again. This was me telling myself, this girl, you don't want to feel like this no more. You need to wait. Or maybe not even have no kids. I'm not even gonna hold you. But never in my mind, ever. Now I get it. Some of you guys are like, well, you know my situation. It's never no excuse for that to happen. And mind you, again, my child was stillborn. Okay. And then I've had a miscarriage. Okay. I've been through all of that. And then I've had the ability to give life to children. God makes a way. One who practices divination or tells fortunes or interprets omens, or a sorcerer or a charmer or a medium or a necromancer, or one who inquires of the dead. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord your God is driving them out before you. Let it sink into you. Let it sink in. Okay. And then I really want this to just to sink in. Revelation 21:8. But as for the cowardly, okay, as for the cowardly, the faithless, the detestable, as for murderers, the sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars, their portion will be in the lake of the burning. Will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur. Okay, which is the second death. So you think I care about what anybody thinks or how they're receiving this? I'm not gonna be no coward. Okay. I'm not gonna have me burning in hell because I'm too afraid of you. I don't care who you are. Baby, your comments get deleted before you finish them, baby. You posted, thought you did your big one, and went just I didn't even see it. Okay. Let's make that be very clear. Not for nothing, you guys. That wraps up this particular teaching on mediums, idolatrous practices. Okay. Let me know what you guys think. Have you ever consulted a medium? And like I said, I was very tempted to consult a medium, not necessarily a psychic, a medium, because I wanted to get more information about my deceased son that I mentioned, because I never got to meet him. I never got to hear him cry. I never any of that. I wanted to see how did he die within me so I can prevent it for my next children. But I never got to be able to have that opportunity to do it, and thank God, because I don't know what that would have opened up. It probably would have messed up my womb in itself, or maybe, okay, me watching that stuff and doing all the other stuff that I was doing. Maybe that's what caused my womb to be shut up as long as it was. Okay. Shoot, y'all, I'm telling y'all, I was gone. It was a lot that this child was going through. Okay. Not for nothing, you guys. That is the video. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next teaching. God bless. Thank you so very much for tuning into this video. I pray that you got something from it. And if you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And let me know down in the comments what you thought about the video. As well as please follow me on all my social media. You can see it down here. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Until then, God bless.